Welcome to the Fermented Homestead. If you're new here, my name is Anna, and on this channel, I'm sharing our journey of learning how to turn our home into a homestead. Today is day something. Today's day 19 of Vlogmas, and we're just gonna do a little bit of health boosting things. I'm not entirely sure what all of them are, but the first one involves, I really wanna get a cow, okay? Hear me out. So our freezers are full of, remember those 100 chickens that we butchered? And in order for me to be able to get, to go in on a cow with my friend Amy, so we're gonna buy like half and half, I have to clear up space in the freezer. So we're eating chicken. I'm not a huge fan of chicken. And you might be wondering, Anna, if you're not a huge fan of chicken, why on earth would you raise and butcher 100 chickens? I like chicken broth. That's why. I like it a lot. So I need to figure out what on earth to do with the extra chicken meat once I make the broth with it. So we're gonna turn 3 of those chickens into broth today. And then I'm really hoping in the comment section below, you guys are gonna give me some ideas of things that I can do with the shredded chicken. Hopefully keto friendly, carnivore is best. Maybe just give me some ideas or even some recipes that you guys have of things that you like to do with shredded chicken, because I don't like it a whole lot. And then we're gonna do a neti pot. Here's the thing and the reason for it. I just saw those towels up there. That's from Robert's Brewing, they're not gross. Once upon a time, I was at my goal weight, even below it. And then I just lost it all, right? And now I'm staring down the barrel at having to lose like another 70 pounds. And I've been doing really good for the last week. I've had a good mindset, and a lot of that is big thanks to Jess over at Keto Rewind. I watched a couple of her mindset videos, and she really just made me realize that I'm the problem and I'm the solution. If I don't change, my life never will either. So it's like, all right, it's either now or like I'm gonna be in the same exact place next year as I was last year, you know, like wishing I could get there, planning to get there and failing. But we're not gonna fail this time. Maybe we will a little bit, but you know what I'm saying? Like this time is, I feel on my feels that this is the time. And I've been doing really well, just trying to do things that I did before that brought me good feelings, good health, a good attitude, and results. One of those things was a neti pot, because I have a chronically stuffed nose. It is always stuffy, and the neti pot just really helps. It clears out your sinuses and helps me be able to breathe for a little bit. And it's just one of those healthy things that kind of, I don't know, it just made me feel healthy. I don't know what else to say beyond that, but it just made me feel good. It gave me, it gave me a little while to be able to breathe clear. But a lot of my day today is gonna be taken up. I'm making a gift for somebody, but I don't know if they watch the channel or not, so I'm not gonna show you guys what that is. Yesterday I went to the kind of the bigger city in the area, did a bunch of Christmas shopping, and got most of it done. I've only got really like maybe 2 or 3 people left. All the ones that I got today need to be mailed out ASAP. So that's on my list for today. I need to get those wrapped up, packaged up, and in the mail tomorrow. I think I'm just gonna sip on my coffee, edit some videos, and I'll bring you back when I eat some food. Changed my mind because I want to get the chicken broth going. And it's been a while since I showed you guys how I make chicken broth. So I figured why not bring you along. Once upon a time, I had a bigger roasting pan, but that time has gone. That one fit 3 chickens, and I can't remember, but I feel like this one's only gonna fit 2. So I brought 3, and we can roast the 3rd one up later on, I guess. I like simple things. I don't like to overcomplicate. If there's a technique to do things that is traditional, and it's like, the way that everybody does it, odds are I'm not gonna do it if it's difficult and time consuming. If it's one or the other, I might do it. An example I can think of off the top of my head would be like fermenting. It's very time consuming as far as how long it takes to make it, but the hands-on time is super, super low, and it's easy, so I do it. So I just put the lid on this thing and turn it up to like 350 or so. However long it takes to get it up to a simmer, then the chicken inside is usually pretty thawed, and then I will add the salt to it. I usually add about 1/4 cup per bird, and then kind of stir it up a little bit and just let it simmer for like 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours, kind of just depending on whatever I feel like doing. Then the bird's cooked and the broth is done. I'll bring you along for that later on. Something that I am incredibly thankful for after watching those videos is just the realization of, I mean, I don't know if it was something that she said or simply just like an epiphany that I had from watching the videos, and that is how uncomfortable am I actually willing to make myself, or how many times am I willing to say no to myself on something that I want to do or something that I want to have. A prime example for that was kind of evening munching. That was my downfall. That was the thing that I really had to get control over. That and just saying no to myself when temptation came my way. And the last time I had this kind of discussion with you was about a week ago, and I've been doing really good ever since I made that video, and just kind of been feeling doing increasingly better. I guess I've been kind of building on it. What I mean by that is that, like, the first few days I just made sure that I was staying on plan and I wasn't doing anything off of the plan. And then I cut out my evening cocktail, which I knew I needed to do, but I didn't realize until after I did it. And then I found a Dr. Boz video about the morning glucose spike. And mine was quite high. It was 116 fasted in the morning, 3 days ago. And then I watched that video and I was like, okay, it makes so much sense, because what was it? The dawn effect. That's what it's called. It's called a lot of people in the keto kind of world call it the dawn effect, where your glucose is really high in the morning, but then it just drops right off. And that's because you have, I think, I could be wrong on how she said it, but I'll find the video and link it down below if you guys are interested. But basically she said that you just have excess glucose in your liver. It could be glycogen, whichever. And you have it extra in your liver, and when you wake up, your body's still trying to work through it. And so that means that you're eating too late. And for me, I believe it was alcohol that was also playing a part in it, because if your liver's not healthy, then your liver's gonna have a hard time breaking all these things down. So I think that was definitely the right move. I think that was like 4 days ago or so. Yeah, so I just stopped. I'm probably gonna stop for quite a while because of just, I don't know. I feel like that was kind of something that was holding me back a little bit, because it's giving when you have it in the evening right before you go to bed, your body doesn't have a chance to really work through it. And then it kind of hinders your overnight autophagy and all those things. So, and then a couple days after that, I decided to start doing like intermittent fasting kind of things. I just started doing that 2 days ago. Today's gonna be my 3rd day. And more than intermittent fasting, it's time restricted feeding, because I've heard that eating in the mornings and into the early afternoons and then just stopping for the rest of the day can have a much greater health effect, as well as return on investment as far as weight loss goes, because you maximize autophagy while you're sleeping. And if you're anybody wondering, autophagy is what happens when you fast. It's basically your body starting to really break down dead stuff in your body, dead cells, just the icky stuff. It starts to clean house. It does that oftentimes while you're sleeping. And if you stop eating, say 2 o'clock or something like that, and then you stop eating, it gives your body that whole time from like 2 o'clock until the next morning at 7, 8 o'clock to sweep out, clean out your guts, and start to go to work on some of the nasty stuff that might be going on inside your body. So I've been trying that for, this is, like I said, day 3. So I'm gonna keep going on that and see how things go. And then I think it's time for me to stop yammering. I'll bring you back when the chicken's done. I gotta go edit. I'll see you back here. I started to say something and then I got squirreled, but basically when I was saying like how uncomfortable am I willing to make myself, and how basically the answer before was not at all. And I've kind of realized that I've just been kind of being a pansy about it and not pushing through and not saying no when I know that I need to, and not choosing what I want most, which is health, vitality, weight loss, feeling good, over what I want now, which might be a scoop of peanut butter or a pack of top ramen or something ridiculously stupid like that. You know, it's like saying no in that moment is saying no to what I want now, but it's saying yes to what I want later. So that was kind of my point of that. Like, I really had to do some introspection about, am I really the strong person that I feel I am? And I don't think I was. I wasn't manifesting it. I wasn't taking action on it. You can have all the muscles in the world, but if you don't use them for anything, they don't matter. You can have the highest level of inner strength, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't put it towards something. So I'm gonna flex our muscles. So if I'm being real, it's the next day, and I let this stuff simmer far longer than I ever needed to, and then I shut it off and reheated it this morning. And hubby already took the hindquarters from one of the birds, and then I'm gonna have the other one in some form for lunch. We're gonna go ahead and get these guys separated out so we can get them cooling off and ready to put in our fridge. I've never tried using the rack before, so I don't know how well this is gonna work, but maybe we could just let it hang here for a second and let it drip. Make it a little easier maybe. One thing I've discovered about this way of making bone broth is you have to make sure to add enough salt, otherwise the chicken is going to taste really bland. But if you add enough salt to it, the chicken is actually kind of reasonably tasty. If we had one of those 9x13 pans, this would probably be a little easier, but it'll still work. Then once I have the meat out, I'm just going to strain it into our jars. I prefer to do this part while it's still nice and warm, / almost hot. Because when you put the lid back on it, it's gonna create, when you put the lid on it, it will create a vacuum as it cools, making it last longer in my fridge. It's not, just because it has a vacuum seal doesn't mean it's gonna be shelf stable, but it will last longer in the fridge. The rest of that is gonna be just drinking throughout the day today. Hubby loves this stuff too. Makes a great coffee substitute if you're trying to cut it out. It's delicious, has tons of flavor, and it has so many of the nutrients you need to heal your gut and keep your bones nice and healthy. Once all three of these have created a vacuum, and cooled off to like room temperature, I'll pop these in the fridge. And then when the bones and the meat cool off enough to be able to comfortably touch, but not cooled off completely, I'll separate the meat out into a separate Ziploc, and then all the bones from both birds will fit in one Ziploc, and then I'll save that for a bone broth later on. So you're basically getting 2 products out of it. Well, really 3, because you're getting the meat also, but you know what I mean. Finally ready to do the neti pot. Dishwasher's running in the background, sorry, that's just reality. So we're gonna go ahead and mix up our mixture. I bought this stuff many years ago, and it worked fine for me, so I continue to use it. And it comes with a scoop in there, and I just put 1 scoop for 1 cup of distilled water. And then I'm just gonna warm it up enough to get it kind of body temperature. If it's too cold, it'll kind of shock your nose and just like, you're just gonna choke. Warming it up just enough. Like, you don't wanna make it cold, but you also don't wanna make it too warm because you can burn your nasal passages, which nobody wants. I have always used distilled water because the well water that we have has particles in it. It has heavy levels of lime. And at the house we lived at previously, it had heavy levels of iron. So, and then prior to that, we lived in city water, which I would never shove up my nose. So I just get distilled water from the store. And my husband actually has a distiller now, and I asked him if he can make distilled water with the alcohol distiller, and he said yes. So I'll probably end up doing that in the future. Depending on the day, I'll do a half a cup or a cup per side. Today I figure I'm showing you how to do it, so why not just go for the gambit? And we'll do a cup per side. And the neti pot fits just shy of a cup, so I'll probably have a little extra. And the way that I tell is I'll usually take like this part of one of my fingers and kind of just dip clean, of course, and tip it, kind of just set it in the water. And if it feels either neutral or just slightly warm, then I know it's done. If it feels cold, I'm not gonna want it. And if it's hot, I'm gonna have to wait for it to cool off. Which often also can be one of the reasons that you probably don't want to add the salt just yet, in case you have to dilute it, but oh well. we're done. You'll have to overlook the chaos. It's just, I just don't have time for it. At the moment, I have this Neti Pot here, and we're gonna fill it up with the water. There we go. This is the weird part. Okay, let me get my meat out of the sink here. Okay, if you don't have allergies, constant stuffy nose, pay attention. Like, you might not think. Like, I'm probably one of those people that wouldn't notice if I had a stuffy nose if I weren't really paying attention. But, like, you can hear it, like it's blocked. And it's not like blocked off, but it definitely, I can breathe better. And so this is something that helps me with that. So all you do is, okay, let me get this out of the way here. So you just kind of, you tilt your head kind of to the side a little bit, kind of like this. So then you just pour it through your nose, and you'll choke and cough the first couple times, and it's gonna be annoying the first couple times, but I promise you'll get the hang of it. Then you just blow a bunch of stop rockets to the sink. It feels weird, but I promise, if you suffer from allergies or if you're sick, this is heaven sent. I assure you. You don't have to do a whole cup. You can just do however much you want to flood through your nostrils. But it's amazing. Amazing stuff. I don't know if you can hear the difference with the dishwasher going, but I feel like my lungs are just filled with oxygen, just breathing through my nose. I don't know if you can tell the difference over the sound of the dishwasher, but I feel so much better. When I'm not taking care of my health, I can get very blocked up if I'm consuming things that I'm passively allergic to, wheat, all sorts of like grain products, things like that. It's like a passive sort of stuffy nose, and it's not constant, but it's just, I have to breathe through my nose. The other night I was snoring, and that's kind of what prompted this, because I used to snore insane. Like, I would clear a room sleeping, and then when I lost all the weight, I stopped snoring. Well, honestly, I lost like 20 pounds and I stopped snoring, and it's been gone this whole time, and I feel like it's just started to come back. Not as bad as it used to be, but like I'm gonna put an end to that. Anyways, so tomorrow I'm planning on showing you how to incorporate more liver into your diet without being able to taste it. Okay, that's the key here. And I'm gonna be using that as a way to make kind of grocery store normal ground beef healthier. And we're gonna do a carnivore food haul. I hope you guys are enjoying following along with me on Vlogmas/Fermentmas, at least to the best of my ability that I'm able to do, as well as following along with me as I share my pursuit of gut health and on my homestead shenanigans. If that sounds awesome, do you click this button right here? This is the subscribe button. This is what tells YouTube you want to come back here. Up here is a video that Mr. Google Pants thinks that you're gonna enjoy. Over here is my last Vlogmas/Fermentmas video, and then up here is my Vlogmas/Fermentmas playlist. Check it out for all the awesomeness. Peace out, sauerkraut.